for NIADA TV. I have the privilege today for How to Market Yourself to a Lender by Joe Keadle. Great guy from New South Federal Savings Bank. I want to welcome all of you to our last convention education session for 2008. What a better way to conclude than a session presented by a banker who going well for everyone. Let me flip this right. And he's going to show us how to go back home and present our business to the lender in the very best light. We have Joe Keadle here, who is the National Floor Plan Manager for New South Federal Savings Bank in Birmingham, Alabama, with services all over the country. Joe and the bank are dedicated to education and making it a part of their clients' business plans. And they are helping sponsor the NIADA Certified Master Dealer program this year. Joe has over 15 years of experience in the automotive industry as a new car, a used car, and an F&I manager, and a sales consultant. So please, just don't sit there. Let's all give a good, warm NIADA welcome to our friend Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Well, we can keep this very informal. Can everyone hear in the back? Everything? We're good? Great. Anytime you have a question, we've got, someone has a microphone that we can get questions, and we can stop at any point. You know, basically this is the last session of the day. Y'all have heard a lot of good information. You've heard a lot of very exciting speakers. I'm not one of them. So the good information part is here, but I will do my best to make this as entertaining as possible. But once again, I am a banker, but I did sell cars, so that gives me a little bit of flavor. So we'll just jump right in. Anything that you have, just raise your hand, stand up, just let me know, and we'll stop and deal with it at that point. First of all, just congratulations for showing an interest in your business. It's, to me, you know, that's one of the most exciting things is that y'all are very good, highly successful businessmen, not small businessmen, medium. We have small, medium, large, but it just makes a big effort that you're focused on your dealerships. Without that focus, you really aren't going to be able to get anywhere. So a couple of the questions that really what we're going to do is going to be in two parts. We're going to talk a little bit about presenting yourself to a banker or a lender, primarily concerned about obtaining commercial loans, which would be floor plan lines of credit, building loans, things like that, and then also on the indirect side, so I'd call them bankers and lenders. So you're going to have to be able to accurately describe your business, particularly to the banker. The lender, they know the indirect retail piece, they understand that, but a lot of you are having to go out and try to raise money from someone that doesn't have a clue what you really do. So you're going to have to be able to define who you are, and don't define yourself as a used car dealer. That it's much more to it than that. Anybody that, you know, we see the people that open the stores all the time that looks like a great business to be in. I'm going to get a lot, hang a shingle, and I'm going to be a millionaire. And it just doesn't work that way, does it? And why does this matter? It's very important to be able to describe yourself in terms that a banker understands. Particularly on the commercial side. If you're telling someone that how many cars you sell, you know, I sell 50 cars a month, I sell 75 cars a month, that really doesn't mean anything to them. They're looking for much more balance sheets, P&Ls, things of that nature. There's no such thing as a typical dealer. So they really don't have a good understanding of what you guys are out there facing. If you look at just some industry averages, and you can see you're going to be much higher and much lower than this, but last year dealerships sold 14.3 million vehicles. It was 32.8% of the market for independent dealers. Those 4.3 million in sales equated to 124.1 million. And a lot of bankers just don't understand that the market's that large. This number would really blow their mind if they stopped to do some research on it. Now, some of the other things that we're facing with is in '07, there were 42,700 dealers, down from 44,000 in '06. This number is probably going to be much smaller again in '08. We all know those people that are on the street, on the corner, that are no longer there. So we're in a survival of the fittest mode right now, which to me makes this much more important, being able to get your story across to someone so that you have the adequate capital and the lending sources to run your store on a daily basis. How's it relevant? You're not just a used car dealer. To me, and I've sold cars, I was an F&I manager, I've desk deals. We really sell ourselves short because in the industry, we all know that used car dealers are looked upon very suspect. Traditional bankers tend to turn and run away from them. But they won't run away from the guy that has the car wash next to you or the guy that sells the lawn service equipment on the other side of you. Well, you have more sales, you're more profitable, you can be more organized than that person. You just need to be able to explain that. You have to paint them a picture. Who you are. Why are you successful? Why do you deserve to be treated fairly based on your business history? That's the key one to me. You deserve better treatment than what a lot of people give you because they don't take time to actually learn who you are. So that's going to be your job, is to be able to explain that properly to somebody. And when's the best time to establish that relationship? It's before you need them. You develop these relationships over time, particularly on the commercial side. It's a much slower process. You can work with your F&I managers, you can find out about new lenders. Typically that can be a much quicker process on the indirect retail side. But developing a long-term strategy with a banker for your commercial needs or your floor plan needs is something that you need to lay the groundwork for. Because they're going to be much more serious on the underwriting, they're going to look a lot deeper. And they may not understand what you really do. Don't be a get-me-done dealer. Be prepared, do your homework about your banker lender. Pick who you want to service you. Don't wait for them to come to you. We're not going to be able to go and knock on everyone's door and say, would you like this $1 million loan? You need to find out what you need, identify the people that ask, use the resources, use your state IADAs, your other dealers in other states, find out who provides services to them, and see if they're active in your marketplace. Why are you looking to change banks or add a new lender? Do you need to add a new indirect lender just because they stop by? Probably not. You need to add them because they're going to fill a niche that'll let you sell more cars. They'll let you sell 4 more cars a month based on their program. We all know, I've been an F&I manager. I'm sure most all of y'all have sat in that seat. If you don't feed these lenders, they will leave you. And so having 24 lenders but only using 3, those other 9 are going to suddenly call on you and no longer do business with you. And also explain how it's going to help the new banking lender to help your dealership. It's that whole mutual success, win-win. There's lots of catchphrases for it. But for a traditional banker, when you're explaining what you do and how you do it, they also need to understand the benefits of doing business with you, because you're not an average dealer. You're not an average businessman. Anybody that successfully runs an independent dealership is very intelligent and typically one of the hardest workers. So you got to be able to explain that to folks. A lot of times folks just they don't want to have to do that. Why should I have to explain myself? But you got to present yourself for who you truly are. You're a successful businessman meeting a very specific need in a marketplace. There's probably no 2 individuals in here that their business models line up exactly, whether it be buy here, pay here, special finance, traditional retail. Do you specialize in, well, not that many people specialize in trucks and sport utilities right now, but high mileage cars, it's all a different niche. You've successfully identified a niche to fill, and explain that to people. Be prepared. Here's the fun part. This is where it gets real dry. We want to know who we're doing business with. We want to have a good reputation, very active owner involvement. But for the bankers in the crowd, a clear, consistent track record with good, solid financial reporting. We want to see that track record of success. When we're talking about financial statements, we don't mean that you check the checkbook and go, I have money at the end of the month, so I'm good. That's not the way it happens. So it's starting to sound like work now. So why should you bother doing it? I'm fine. I've got someone that takes care of my needs. I've got some indirect lenders. You know, some of my cars are out of the floor. The auction takes good care of me. Why is it worth going through all of this? Next to your employee cost, interest is typically the second highest expense item for an independent dealership. And it's very hard to sell vehicles without good finance options. Unless you've got really deep pockets and you're carrying everything yourself, you need someone to buy that contract. And not everybody that walks in, how many people have a truckload of 740 Beacons with $5,000 down drop off at their store every day? It just doesn't happen. You've got to find those niche lenders that can fit what you do. And what's the typical banker or lender looking for to be able to make that decision? This is based partly on what I require and what I do on a daily basis, and typically just what I see out in the marketplace. They're going to look for 3 years minimum in business. Some people will deal with startups. Typically it's going to be a little more expensive, but if you go in with a very clear business plan and a very clear balance sheet done so that they can understand how you're capitalizing this, you'll get a lot further. Very strong management team. That one, for us, and the active owner involvement are one of the two most important things we look at before I delve into the financials. If I've got an absentee owner, if I've got an owner that doesn't understand how to buy a car, I really don't want to put any of my money with him, because where do you make money? At the auction. You make the money when you buy the car. If you don't understand how to buy the car, you're not going to be able to get it financed because you're not going to get the over advance that you need to carry your mistake. 3 years tax returns, business and personal, current balance sheets and income statements. A very clear business plan. Be able to explain what you do now, what you plan to do in 6 to 12 months, near term. Because that's typically, for what I do, that's typically the lending term is a 12-month annual renewal. I need to understand what you're going to be doing for the next 12 months that justifies me partnering with you. And the ability to repay the debt. That means the sales, the structure, personal capital, working capital in the dealership. We also look at the individual. It's the old 4 C's of credit. One of those is character, and capacity is the next one. So you have to be able to not only make them feel like they can trust you, that they will get the debt repaid, but that you're a good risk personally. And you do that because typically they're so dry with numbers. They want to see good, consistent financial reporting, that you have the ability to generate a quality financial statement that they can rely on.